Good evening, everyone. Happy Independence Day to all of you, and a very warm welcome to yet another power packed session. We are back with our 34th Learning Weekend webinar series, continuing with our legacy of knowledge sharing. I am Jyoti, your host for the day, and our thought leader for today is Mr. Nilanjan Mukherjee, who will be sharing his insights on the topic Seven Pillars of Success. Today's
Hi.
webinar is,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Today's webinar is being organized by Core HRIR Group in collaboration with HRCI, who is a global certification partner. Before we kickstart the session, a little bit about the Core HRIR Group. We started in the year January 2017, and we are now a network of 5,000 plus HR professionals, which includes various HR leaders, CHROs, who are connected globally from Fortune 500 companies. We are all connected with each other with an intent of networking, knowledge sharing, and of course development, on a personal as well as professional front for one and all. Since our very inception, we've also come up with a series of initiatives which includes the live wire WhatsApp and Telegram groups. We also have the Learning Weekend webinar series, and we are proudly saying today is the 34th Learning Weekend webinar series. Other than that, we also have the Career Center initiative, which is the artificial intelligence enabled job boards platform. We have the Chai Buddy series, which is an HR conclave. We have the Shining HR Award to felicitate outstanding HR professionals. Other than that, we also have initiatives like Core Research Group, wherein which is formulated with an intent to explore various differentiated research topics and themes in HR. The next initiative is the Candid Conversation series, which is primarily for sharing HR and business insights with everyone. We have also collaborated with HRCI, and also listed here is a list of all the certifications that are offered by HRCI. HRCI has done away with the prerequisition and validation required for the global exposure for GPHR course. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to select the appropriate course depending upon your level of skill sets and the level of course that you want to pursue. Moving back to our much awaited session, I feel extremely privileged to introduce our thought leader, Mr. Nilanjan Mukherjee. He's working as Deputy General Manager HR with the Relaxo Group. He's a dynamic HR professional with expertise in talent acquisition and talent development, talent management, PMS, employee engagement, HR partnerships, and various other gamut of HR activities. He has 16 plus years of rich experience and has previously worked with organizations like Cliniarix, CMC Limited, and Freescale Semiconductors. He's an IIM Lucknow alumni and also an IMT alumni, and has addressed more than 16,000 professionals as a guest speaker, which includes students, professionals, and various faculties. He has also authored the book You Will Succeed, which has inspiring stories and actions that define new principles of success. He's quite active on socio-economic forums on news channels like NDTV, and has various awards and accolades to his credit. On a personal front, he is an avid traveler with a great sense of humor. He's almost traveled 18 states and 4 union territories and various other countries, and the journey is still on. A little bit about me. I am Jyoti Sharma. I have 15 plus years of experience in various HR functions. I am currently working as regional recruitment lead South Asia with British High Commission, and have previously worked with organizations like British Council, Aon Hewitt, and IBM. Moving to our much awaited topic, seven pillars of success. That's quite an invigorating topic, which really forces us to rethink what success really means to all of us. It is different for every single individual. How do we set our goals and achieve them? Nilanjan definitely believes that nothing is impossible. So he'll really help us understand what is the absolute key to success in all areas of our lives. So let's hear it out from our expert. Nilanjan, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, my dear brothers and sisters of Core HRIR Group and all the audiences who are listening to me from YouTube and any other mode, I welcome all of you. It is my proud privilege and joy unspeakable as I present this topic to you. Mr. Veer from Core HR IR Group was in touch with me since last 2.5 years, and in past I have tried to appear for session physically, but that was not possible. But I am very happy that today I am able to connect with all of you through this virtual medium. So let us take directly to the slide. Can you please take us to the next slide, please, Jyoti? Yeah. So when I was given this topic and when I saw the name of Core HRIR Group, I realized that the success lies in the name itself. So today I am going to tell you 7 stories, and these 7 stories will signify the first alphabet of Core HRIR. So there will be a story with alphabet C, then O, R, E, H, and then in Core HRIR the R is appearing 3 times. Okay, and finally with G. So my first story, which I'm telling you today, starts with the alphabet C. Can you please take us to the next slide? And that is C stands for customer delight. So, my dear brothers and sisters, the story goes like this: that there was a person called Mike, and Mike was a taxi, driver like any other taxi driver in the street of New York. And one day when he was driving, he saw his passenger, and he thought that I have seen this passenger somewhere. I have seen this gentleman somewhere, but he could not recollect who this person was. And close to close to 40 minutes of journey, when the passenger finally get off his car, and then he said that he said his name over phone to somebody, and his name was Matthew. And then he realized, oh, he is the same Matthew who was studying with me in class 12th. And then he thought that today this gentleman is so successful. He was talking about millions, he was talking about diversification of business, he was talking all big things, all strategic things. And look at me today, I am still a driver. Okay, and this gentleman is working in a very big company somewhere. And then he in a moment of weakness, he parked his car somewhere near garden, and he was sitting aloof, and he thought that what have I done to myself. Today I am a 45-year-old man, and I am still driving this car, and I don't know how my future is going to be. Will I remain a driver for rest of my life? Will my children ever get a good education? How my future will be? And since he was asking this question, the universe gave him a reply. And there was a paper in front of him, and in that paper uh, there was written about a certificate course on customer delight. And he thought, let me try out this program, and let me see if after doing this certification course of customer delight, if I can do better in my business. So he took 1 week break from his service, from his the profession of driving. He invested some money into the business. He got his car dented, painted. He invested upon himself. He bought a new pair of gloves, new hat, new dress code for himself. And now with new zeal and new enthusiasm, he started to do his business. So this time when the first passenger entered his cab after a break of 7 to 8 days after doing the certification course, he handed over a beautifully written typed message. And that message was, "Good morning, my name is Mike. I will take you to your destination with utmost comfort. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride." So that passenger was extremely happy to see this kind of message, because in his life he has never seen this kind of a message before by any other taxi service provider. So once the cars started to roll, he asked him that, would you like to read any of the two of the best newspaper of New York? So the person was again happy, because this was the first time some taxi service provider was offering a newspaper. So he took one of the newspaper and started to read. After a few minutes, he said that, "Sir, I have pop music, I have rock music, I have instrumental music, and I have numerous other PlayStation. Would you like to listen to any of the music of your choice?" So this was the first time when the passenger realized that somebody was asking for his choice, Otherwise, other drivers used to play whatever song they used to like. So he was again happy. And after more minutes of journey, he offered that gentleman a beautiful, a beautiful bucket, and that beautiful bucket was, beautifully wrapped with a gelatin paper, and in that bucket there was butter, bread, jam, jelly. There was strawberries, and a lot of cakes, smoothies, and a lot of things. And it was kind of a gift hamper, and or you can say a food hamper. And that gentleman was it's absolutely happy, and he said, "Oh, thank you very much for all your hospitality." So he started to give a feeling of customer delight. He knew that when you uh, do what the customer expect you to do, that is called customer satisfaction. But when you exceed the expectation of a customer, it is called customer delight. And then what happened was that after a year of putting this customer delight into practice, when he looked into his accounts, what he found was that till last year he was earning only X amount of money, but after implementing this customer delight approach, he was earning 3x amount of money. Yes, you heard it right. He was earning 3x amount of money, and majority of the money came in the forms of tips, okay, which was absolutely tax free. And that person, within few years started to have more vehicles, and with the help of power of leveraging, he appointed various drivers, and his business grew like anything. So my dear brothers and sisters, all of us, those who are especially those who are in HR professional, or maybe in any business, our customers, whether internal or external, matters to us, and they are the very reason why we are in the service. So try to have this approach of customer delight, okay, and you will very soon find that you will be one of the most popular person in the organization, and whichever fraternity you work for. With this powerful alphabet of C, I now move to the next powerful alphabet of O, and O stands for, can you move to the next slide please? And O stands for observant. So in core HRIR group, the first is C, C is customer delight. The second alphabet is O, and O stands for observant. So here is a story of Mr. Leon Simpkins. Mr. Leon Simpkins was partner and general manager of a publishing house, Simon and Shackelford, at Rockefeller Center in the United States of America. And this gentleman had a very unique problem, and which in today's world is very, very relevant to all the business manager, to all the strategic managers. Okay, and he realized that in many of the business meetings, in spite of giving agendas before, people used to come very, very unprepared. People never used to remain on the topic. The discussion used to go haywire, and after that meeting, he used to think that I have wasted my time in this kind of meeting, where people are absolutely not aware what they are supposed to do, and how prepared they should be in the meeting. So he asked himself that, what can I do to make my meetings more productive? And then he locked himself up, and he thought that today I am going to find out the solution to make my meetings more productive. And then he himself came out with this thought that I can do it only and only if I make my people more observant. So he wrote four magical questions, and then those four, I'm going to tell you these four magical questions and what was the implication of these magical questions. So the first magical question which he wrote was, what is the problem? The second was, what is the cause of the problem? The third is, what are the possible solutions to eradicate the problem? And the fourth is, what are the best solutions? So, after these four important questions, what happened was that he immediately called his secretary and dictated these four questions to her. And he told that from now on, whenever somebody solicits my time, you ask them that they will have to give me their response in detail, at least 200 words for each of these questions. And only when I am satisfied after reading all these 4 questions, I will be in a position to allocate my time. And you know what happened? Like a miracle, his meeting time reduced to more than 90%. Why? Because when people started to write these questions, they started to write the answers of these questions, they realized in 90% of the cases that the answer was with them. So now people used to approach him only and only when there was a policy related matter, or when there was something which was of his, financial in nature, when they have to solicit his financial approval. So my dear brothers and sisters, whenever you face any kind of challenge in your life, whether it is business related, whether it is personal, whether it is career oriented, it could be of any reason, any type, you ask yourself these 4 magical questions. What is the problem? What is the cause of the problem? What are the three or four solutions to eradicate this problem? And what is the best solution? And when you answer these 4 questions, and if you write it down, by the time you answer the fourth question, 85% of your problem will just evaporate like air. Okay, so after reading, this technique, there was an insurance advisor in US. He thought that, okay, if this is really a solution, then let me apply this to my business. So this gentleman was doing insurance sales business, and he was, kind of static at a certain level in his business. So he was able to sell 300 policies on a yearly basis, but he was not able to increase his number of sales. So he thought that if this question can really help me, let me apply this question. So he wrote the answer of the first question: what is the problem? The first answer which he wrote was that I am unable to grow my business from 300 policies to 400 policies, which I'm thinking since last 2 3 years. Then the second question was, what is the cause of the problem? In order to understand the cause of the problem, he had to take a deep dive into the data. And then he realized, then he, gathered all the data of all the prospects whom he has met over last 1 year. And he realized that 85% of the time he has got the business after meeting a client only once, or meeting that client twice. You heard it right. 85% of the time, he that person has got business once he has approached the client once or twice. And only in 15% of the cases, he has got business from those people whom he has approached third, fourth, fifth, or sixth time. And he also realized that he was spending more than 75% of his time in doing follow up with those people from where he was getting only 15% of the business. So, Eureka, what was the learning? The learning was meet somebody once, meet somebody twice for a business proposal, but don't invest your time thrice on the same person. And instead of doing that, you look and invest your time for the new opportunity. And with this, great insight, this gentleman was very successfully able to build his business to the next level, because he got the answer. He got the answer that if somebody is not approachable or not interested to buy the policies after 2 visits, then you leave that person for somebody else and don't focus on that person anymore. So my dear brothers and sisters, we have to be observant. We have to have the answers of these 4 questions, and these 4 questions will help you to conquer any challenges in life. So be an observant person. From this, we now move to the third alphabet of core HRIR, and R stands for results. My dear brothers and sisters, here is the story, very unique story of polio eradication. So, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan uh, became a brand ambassador of the polio eradication drive of India. And why he was chosen? Because we were doing very good as a country and we were managing polio to a great extent. But in the year 2002, Very strangely, 1,556 new cases were registered. And when these new cases were registered, WHO and Ministry of, Ayush Ministry, they started to think, what happened? Why all of a sudden there was an upsurge in the number of polio cases? And then they realized that people in some part of India were not taking their children to polio booths, okay, and by giving various excuses, with in terms of religion, in terms of various other superstitiousness. So they roped in Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, uh, as we all know, is a person who is very benevolent in these kind of activities. So he participated. He started to make he started to help people in this awareness campus, help WHO in this awareness camps, and he started this phrase "Do boons zindagi ke." And slowly and steadily the number increased, but it was not increasing to the level which WHO, which the Ministry of Health wanted. And then Ogilvy was the agency which was doing this ad campaign, which was helping in this entire activity. And they realized that in spite of their best of action, they are not getting the desired result. Now here, let us understand that what was the who was the who was the person who was the main beneficiary, and who was the person who was the decision maker. So here, the beneficiary was a child who was from the age of 0 years to 5 years. Now, who was the person who was inclined to get this thing done? That person was the mother in rural India, majorly, who was somewhere around 20 to 22 years old. Now, the decision maker in the family were that lady's parent-in-laws, those who were 50 to 55 years old. So these parent-in-laws, they have seen Mr. Amitabh Bachchan as a angry young man in their childhood during the movies. Those they have seen films like Zanjeer, they have seen movies like Shahansa, wherein Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is a very his projection is that of a very angry young man. Okay, and now here in his new avatar as an ambassador of polio eradication, he is coming and he is requesting do boon zindagi ke aiye pilaiye. So that message is not getting registered to them. And then ad guru Piyush Pandey, he suggested Mr. Amitabh Bachchan that you forget that image of yours, and now you come up with a new image of yours. And then they shooted a new ad, and in that particular ad campaign Mr. Amitabh Bachchan said that ये तो बड़े आश्चर्य की बात है कि पोलियो के सारे कैंप्स खाली हैं। कुछ लोगों को जब कुछ नहीं मिला तो वो आज जात और धर्म के नाम पे अपने बच्चों को पोलियो नहीं पिला रहे हैं। ये बहुत ही दुख की बात है। क्या भेजा है या भिजवा दूं? And he when he said that भेजा है या भिजवा दूं, that particular ad campaign that resulted in overwhelming response, and now the camps were absolutely flooded with people. And then the some of the researchers, those who were doing research, they went there and they asked, भाई अब कैसे आ गए, अब कैसे आ गए आप लोग? पिछले बार तो आप लोग नहीं आ रहे थे, पूरे कैंप्स हमारे खाली जा रहे थे. And then the all the mothers, all the parent-in-laws, those who were there along with the children, they said वो अमिताभ बच्चन जी जो है ना बहुत गुस्सा हो गए थे हम पे, उन्होंने कहा कि भेजा है या भिजवा दूं, तो हमें बहुत बुरा लगा. हमें लगा कि भाई हमारी वजह से उनको इतना दुख नहीं होना चाहिए. And that's why we are all here. So many a times, my dear brothers and sisters, we have to begin with keeping the end in mind. What is the end result? The end result is that each and every person in India must not have polio. So they were not getting result through one mechanism, of requesting, and then they adopted this mechanism. And thereafter, we are doing phenomenally well in the polio eradication drive. So what matters at the end of the day is result. Now, I will also tell you another story. And this story is about Mr. Kishore Kumar. So both the stories are from Bollywood. Mr. Kishore Kumar was known, his childhood name was Abhas Kumar Ganguly. And he was the person who was born in the central provinces. because he was born in the British era, and at that point of time, Madhya Pradesh was known as Central Provinces, and he was born and brought up in a place called Khandwa in Madhya Pradesh. Father was a lawyer, and he was a lawyer of the Diwan of Central Provinces. So he was, he was born and brought up with a silver spoon, and he was doing very good in his childhood. Then what happened was his elder brother, Mr. Ashok Kumar Ganguly, whom we all called as Dada Muni. So Ashok Kumar was a famous Bollywood star. So he became a a very good renowned name in Bollywood. Okay, and once he stabilized himself as a successful filmmaker, as a successful hero, he called both his brother Kishore Kumar and Anup Kumar to Bombay. When Kishore Kumar came to Bombay, then he, in order to start his career, he first joined Bombay Talkies as a chorus singer. Yes, you heard it right. He joined Bombay Talkies as chorus singer, and he got his first paycheck. He was absolutely happy that he was able to earn his first paycheck as a singer. But his brother said that you are, brother of a star, and will you be singing as a chorus singer? So this is something which is not acceptable to me. No, no way. You cannot sing, my brother. You will have to act like, you will have to be a hero like me. So what happened was that this particular gentleman, he started to act in film. Yes, Kishore Kumar started to act in the films, and between 1946 to 1955, initial 9 years of his career, he acted in 22 films, but initial 16 films were flops. Not only flops, super flops. But in spite of all this, the people in the Bollywood industry had faith in him, and the last six films were successful. And he established himself as a very good, comic artist, and he was a very good, his sense of humor was absolutely delight to watch. But once he became successful, then he again went back to his elder brother and he requested that, brother, now I have proved that I'm a successful actor. You now please allow me to sing, and that is what I like. I really like singing. And then Ashok Kumar finally gave go ahead that, okay, you now go and sing. And then what happened was really magical. Mr. Kishore Kumar, he sang 5,000 songs, not only in Hindi, he sung in Marathi, Bengali, Kannada, Malayalam, and various other languages. And all his songs were kind of still till today. His songs are very much alive, and he is present with those songs. And you will be surprised to know what happens that when you put your passion into something, you get, how do you get a desired result? Because he was passionate about something. Each and every song he used to sing with a lot of passion, and his song was so easy, smoothing to ears that people can also used to replicate. They used to sing songs. And few years back, Kingdom of Dreams in Gurgaon, they started a play called Jhumru, and they came to know that there was an unreleased song of Mr. Kishore Kumar. They came to know that there is an unreleased song of Kishore Kumar, and they bought the right of that particular song, at a whopping 1.5 crore rupees. So it is just a 4-minute song, which is not very clear. It was an unreleased song, but even that fetched a whopping 1.5 crore. So, my dear brothers and sisters, when you follow your passion, you get the desired result which you want in life, and you get the desired success in life. From this powerful alphabet of R, now I move to the next powerful alphabet of core HR IR, and that is E. And E stands for emotions. So here is a person whom you are, this gentleman whom you are seeing on your screen right now is Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu. Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu, at this point of time, many of you, and especially my brothers and sisters who are from very young generation, they might be thinking that this person is a celebrity who appears in Laughter Challenge, but yes, it is true that he appears in Laughter Challenge, and but it is also a fact that earlier, at the start of his career, he was a cricketer. His father, Mr. Balwant Singh Sidhu, was himself a very renowned cricketer. Okay, and he was a Ranji player. His father was also Advocate General of Chandigarh Chandigarh High Court, and he was from a very very affluent family. So what Navjot used to do was that he used to live in not only a home, he used to live in a very big mansion, and in that mansion there were multiple rooms. Every day, Balwant Singh Sidhu, his father, used to come and wake him up at 4 a.m. in the morning. And Sidhu, smart kid he was, he used to wake up in front of his father and he used to go to a different room. He used to sleep there for 4 hours, and then he used to splash some water on his face, and he used to come jogging in front of his father, giving an impression that he has, done workout for 4 hours. And then his father used to say, Ja sher da puttar, jaake thoda so ja, bahut tune practice kar li. And then he used to again go and sleep. So this is how he was spending his practice days. But in spite of all this, he was a very very good cricketer, and as a result of his performance in the Ranji, he got selected in Indian cricket team in the year 1982. So when he got selected in the year 1982, he played two test matches, and unfortunately, he scored very very poor runs in both the test matches, and as a result of which, his name was dropped from the Indian squad. So his name was dropped from the Indian squad. At that point of time, there was a gentleman, and that gentleman's name was Mr. Rajan Bala. Mr. Rajan Bala was a famous cricket critic, and he used to write articles for Indian Express. So he wrote an article in Indian Express, and in that article, it was written that how deserving people don't get chance, and people like Sidhu, whose father is very whose father knows people, and he, after by using source and other things, he has got a chance in Indian cricket team, which he actually does not deserve. So this article was read by his father, and his father started to cry profusely. And Navjot saw him, you know behind the curtain. He saw his father crying one day, and then he took that particular article, he cut that article, and he pasted in his wardrobe. And on that day, he took some water, and he said, took some sacred vows, and he said that I will now not rest unless and until I will give name and fame to my family. So whatever bad has been written about me in this print media, I will do whatever I can to improve this and to eradicate this image of mine, and I will be very responsible and very wonderful cricketer. And he took sacred vows. On that day, he threw all his colorful clothes, and he decided that from now on, I am not going to enter my home unless and until I hit 156s every day. Yes, you heard it right. He took a vow that I am not going to enter my house unless and until I hit 156s every day. Next morning, his father, Mr. Balwant Singh Sidhu, came to wake him up, and then he saw, and the servants told his father that, sir, बाबा जी तो आज 3:45 पे ही घर से चले गए हैं प्रैक्टिस के नाम पे. And from that day onwards, he used to come back home sometime at 9 p.m., sometime at 10, sometime at 11, sometime at midnight. Why? Because he was not returning home unless and until he hit 156s. So his friend used to, get exhausted, get tired bowling at him. And then he used to request, boys from college, boys from school to throw ball at him so that he can complete his promise of 156 every day. And many a time when he used to come back, and when he used to when he used to take off his gloves, along with sweat, at times blood used to come out of his hand. So this was the tough practice which he has done. And what happened was that after 5 years of proving and trying himself again and again and again, finally Indian selectors, they realized his true potential, and they said that this person deserves a chance. And in the year 1987, in the World Cup, this gentleman again got a chance. And this time, in 5 back-to-back one-day international, he hit 5 back-to-back half centuries. And in that particular, series, he also hit 22 amazing and big sixes, as a result of which he became a shining star. And one day when he was coming back from pavilion, the present Indian coach, Mr. Ravi Shastri, he threw the newspaper to Mr. Sidhu. It was the same newspaper, Indian Express. It was the same writer, Mr. Rajan Bala. And this time, Mr. Rajan Bala wrote a new article. And that article was From the Strokeless Wonder to the Palm Tree Hitter, the new Navjot Singh Sidhu. The first article was The Strokeless Wonder, and the next article was From the Strokeless Wonder to Palm Tree Hitter, the new Navjot Singh Sidhu. So he played with his emotion, and then he created a name for himself. And then he had a long and phenomenal career. And he was known as the Sixer King because he used to hit such big sixes. So when you play with emotion, we people, especially in human resource, we know that business is logical, but people in and around us are emotional. And we are dealing with man of emotion, not a man of logic. And when we touch their heart with emotion, they can give you such results which you never imagined in life. When you touch people's heart with emotion, they instill it instills a drive in them, and many a times they can work even free for you. That is the benefit of emotion. From this, I now move to the next alphabet of core HRIR, and H stands for healthy lifestyle. My dear brothers and sisters, in today's scenario, amid this COVID-19 situation, when majority of us are finding ways to look for to stay better, it is my humble request and submission to all of you that we should think, act, behave, and stay healthy. Not only we, entire family, and in and around us, our organization people, we have to motivate others to remain healthy, have a good healthy lifestyle. Here is a story of Mr. Rishi Sharma. Mr. Rishi Sharma is a person who is born and brought up in Delhi. He is a famous author, and at one point of time, I was inspired with his website, motesepatla.com. Yes, his website name was motesepatla.com. And this gentleman, at one point of time, was weighing 122 kgs. Yes, you heard it right. He was weighing 122 kgs. So like any other engineering graduate, he was also a very wonderful engineering graduate. He has always crossed, he has always qualified successfully all his examination. He was a ace scholar, student. But he used to love one thing, and that was food. And food was his one of the biggest something which he used to like a lot. So he used to cherish all kind of foods, and especially oily buttery food. So that was his kind of weakness. And he had a family history wherein his father suffered from triple bypass heart surgery, and his mother was his mother was severe diabetic patient. So this gentleman and his father, both parents were senior bureaucrat in Delhi. After completing his graduation, he got chance of working in a very renowned IT firm, and after joining that IT firm, within 6 months he was deployed in a project in US. One day after coming from his project from office, he entered his rented apartment in US. He switched on the television. He opened the Coke can and he was having a sip of the Coke. All of a sudden, he felt a great thumping of heart, and he started to feel palpitation. There was a very uncomfortable feeling which he was having, and so he closed the TV immediately, and he slept there on the bed, thinking that the palpitation will go away, but it didn't. So he screamed for help, and his friend Srinivasan, who was also roommate, okay, he said, Srini, I am not feeling well, you please call 911. And we all know that in US 911 is the number where you call for any kind of help, any kind of issues. So 911 came just in 5 minutes. Within next 5 minutes, this person was the paramedics took this person, they lifted and they put him on stretcher, and they took him in ambulance. And when they took him in the ambulance, The paramedic said, "Don't worry, Rishi. You are doing good. You are doing fine. Don't worry. You will be absolutely okay. We are taking you to the hospital." And when they were taking him to the hospital, he asked that what has happened to me, why I am feeling this uneasiness. And the paramedic told him that you are feeling uneasiness, my brother, because your blood pressure is 210 by 170. 210 by 170. The day was 30th July 2001. He was only 25 years of age. The normal BP of a person should be 120 by 80. And he was surprised, oh my goodness, what is happening to me? And when he finally went to the hospital, there was a famous doctor of that region, Dr. Matthews. Dr. Matthews asked him some questions with respect to his family, and he told that his father was triple bypass heart patient, his mother was a severe diabetic patient. And then he said, my dear brother Rishi, if your father has this kind of a medical history, if your mother has this kind of a medical history, now you have a very, very probable chance that you are also a carrier of these disease. And tomorrow, if you don't do anything right now, if you don't act right now, tomorrow these illness can haunt you. So please do something. Please take care of your health. From the next day, after getting discharged from the hospital, there was a miraculous 360-degree change in this gentleman. Instead of having multiple big meals, multiple fast food, this person changed, and he used to have only small 5 6 meal, only nutritional meals. And within 1 year straight, he lost 50 kgs, 50 kgs, without using any drug, any medicine, just by simple naturopathy and exercise. And since last 17 years, he is maintaining a healthy body weight of 72 kgs. He has not suffered from any medical problem which his father or mother was having. And he is the author of various book. You can go and find about Mr. Rishi Sharma, and he is today inspiration of many people in and around the globe. So, my dear brothers and sisters, in today's era, especially amid this COVID-19 situation, all of us will have to, have this healthy lifestyle attitude. Now, I move to the next alphabet, and the next alphabet again is results. So, in core HRIR group, the result is appearing 3 times. So, you know that result is something which matters a lot. I have already told you about the results. I now move to the next alphabet, and that is I. And I stands for innovation. So, my dear brothers and sisters, no matter whichever stream of business we are, and especially majority of us are today in from the HR fraternity, we will have to constantly think and strive towards ways and means to inculcate a habit of innovation. Not only in our day-to-day lives, into the culture, into the mindset of the people who are working in and around us. And today I tell you this amazing story of Japanese fish story. So Japanese love fresh fish. Okay, they love fresh fish so much that now in their seashores, the fish are not available at the coastal side. So now the fishermen, what there was a they came up with the challenge, and they have to drive to a longer distance, deep into the sea, to get fish from there. But what used to happen was that when people used to go deep into the sea to catch fish from there, and when they used to come back, so if they have to travel, let's say 15 miles to get the fish, or maybe 50 miles, or maybe even deeper, they used to take that much time again coming back to the coast. And people used to understand, okay, this is not fresh fish, and the Japanese used to love fresh fish, and the price of fresh fish is higher than frozen fish. So what happened was, the fish used to get stale, okay, and they used to there was a huge loss which fishermen suffered. So what they did was, they did an innovation. Okay, in their fish boats, they installed freezing machines. So they used to catch fish, they used to store fish in the freezers. But when they used to install those fish in the freezer. So one benefit was that it do not used to get stale. But when those fishermen used to come in the coastal line, and when the buyers used to buy, they used to understand that these are frozen fish, and these are not fresh fish. And they used to like, and they used to inquire, they used to ask for only fresh fish. So now Japanese fishermen, they adopted a new technology. They installed heavy and big tanks in the boat itself. So they used to take out the fish from sea, and they used to pour those fish in the tanks. So these tanks were, no matter how much big that was, there was very little, movement area. So the fish used to move little bit here and there, and then they used to get tired, and then say many of them used to die in those ponds, and or they used to be very lethargic. So when the fishermen used to go back to the coast, again the buyers used to see that these are lethargic fish, and these are not fresh fish, they are not agile fish. Okay, so they used to always inquire about fresh fish, those who are agile fish. So now they came up with another technique. Japanese, they are constantly innovating. So they came up with another technique, and now this technique was that they built, bigger boats, better tanks, bigger tanks, and now they used to throw a shark in this tank. So when they used to throw a shark in this tank, what it used to happen is that now they used to pour all the fish there. So the shark used to, keep those fish agile. They used to move, very speed, because they used to, they wanted to save their lives. Yes, it was true that the small shark used to eat, 5 6 fish during the journey, but his, this big challenge, used to keep all the fish agile. They used to be always, stay alert and active in the fish tank. So now the, Japanese people were getting fresh fish, those fish who were very agile, and all of them were moving in the tanks, and they used to get very very good, prize. So these Japanese fishermen showed us that, the life always gives you new challenges, and every time life gives you a challenge, you will have to innovate, you will have to come up with a solution. And anyone, even those who are in the bottommost of the pyramid, okay, they can innovate and they can think. If they can, why can't we? We are educated professionals. From this important alphabet of I for innovation, I now move to the next alphabet, and the next alphabet is again R, and it is result, and the final alphabet is G. So core HRIR group. So the last alphabet stands for, I have taken from the alphabet G, that and G stands for goal. So the year was 1952. The date was 4th July 1952. This lady, Florence May Chadwick, she decided to travel 26 to swim across 26 miles from Catalina Island to California coastline. It was one of the biggest, swimming challenge, and nobody has ever thought of, daring this challenge. But she was very confident. Why? Because in past she has swum already English Channel in both the direction, and not only once, twice. So she was confident that in the world, if there is any swimmer who can attempt this biggest, swim across Catalina Island and California coastline, that is me, and only I can do it. So she had this, positive belief in herself. So on that day, 4th July 1952, she started to swim. She swam for more than 16 hours, and then there was a very heavy, dense fog. She was not able to see, and fatigue started to set in. And then her mother and coach were coming right behind her in a boat. There was there was a helicopter which was hovering above her head, and that was filled with all journalists. They were from United States of America, they were from United Kingdom. They were all catching this, history in the making. After 16 hours of, swimming, she finally gave up, and she said, "Mom, I'm not able to swim anymore, please take me to the boat." And mom said, no, my child, you are doing fantastically well, you keep on trying, I think you are very near, you would be able to do it. And then she tried for another half an hour, and finally she gave up. And she said, mom, I cannot swim anymore, this is a very daunting task, I think I would not be able to do it. And with a very heavy heart, mom took her to the boat. And after a while, when they finally reached to the coastline, they realized that from the place she stopped swimming, she was just 1 mile away from reaching her goal. So on that particular day, she was not able to fulfill her goal. And the helicopter also landed. All the generalists, they came and they took their mic and they asked Florence, Florence, please answer us, that was the water too cold? And she said, no, the water was not cold. Then some other journalist asked that, Florence, were you attacked by sharks? She said, no, I was not attacked by sharks. So Florence, was this a very difficult, swimming journey which you took? She said, no, it was not a very difficult, because earlier I have swum across English channels twice. Then some journalist asked, then Florence, what happened? Why did you give up in between? And her answer was very astonishing. And she said, I gave up because I was not able to see my goal. My dear brothers and sisters, in life, many a times, we give up because we are unable to see our goals. And on that day, there was an obstruction, there was a hindrance which she thought or she encountered, and that was in the form of fog. If there was, I'm sure that, on that day, if she could have just seen this coast, she would have, or seashore, she would have made it. But since she was not able to view her goal, she gave up. So my dear brothers and sisters, many a times, you see that there is an obstruction in life. So see, like I'm having this mobile phone in my hand, okay, and this mobile phone is a kind of a distraction or obstruction. So when I see this mobile, what I find is that this is a distraction. And when I see all the assignments which I need to do, that is my goal. So mobile is an obstruction. When I see my work, this is my goal. Obstruction, goal. And the answer is, whenever we remove the obstruction from our life, or whenever we stop giving this obstruction significance, and when we remove it from our focus, what we see is goal. 6 months later, again there was a very dense, heavy fog. But this time, Florence May Chadwick kept a mental picture of reaching California coastline, and she saw that, once she imagined over and over again that she already have won the competition by reaching to California coastline. And she saw and she imagined that she was getting the trophy in hand, and people all around the globe were praising about him, about her. So she, swim across again. She attempted to swim after 6 months, and this time there was a heavy dense fog on that particular day also. But she kept that mental picture of winning and becoming a champion alive, and she won on that particular day. My dear brothers and sisters, this was all about core HRIR group. So I have told you stories with the alphabet C, customer delight, with observant behavior, with result oriented mindset, with emotion, with healthy lifestyle, with innovation, and with G. So these are my 7 pillars of success which I have told you. From this, I now move to the next slide. So this is the best slide which many of you would find, and this says thank you. I'm also author of an upcoming book which will be coming in the next month. I now hand over the forum to Jyoti. If there is any questions from the audience, I would be more than happy to answer those questions.
Thanks, Nilanjan, and thanks for beautifully aligning the pillars of success to the core HRIR group. We
Thank you
will
very much.
definitely, thanks. We'll definitely take up questions. I would request audience to please share their questions and queries, and we'll be happy to take them up. So we'll pick up few of the questions which came from our participants who registered for the webinar. So one of the question was, from the fact that we all have a story, and obviously then the necessity and then the intention. However, there are certain limiting beliefs and certain, we also cultivate certain empowering beliefs which actually result in procrastination or postponing things or delaying certain actions. How should we deal with them?
Yeah, I will tell you a very, very good, procrastination is a habit, and we Indians are masters in procrastination. And why? And to tell you this, I have statistics to prove. You see, every year, while filing the income tax return, a big chunk of the people file the income tax return on the last date of filing the income tax. Every year, while filling up the examination form, a big chunk of the students community, they fill up their examination form on the last date. So we people have, over a period of year, we have developed and inculcated a habit, and we don't get ignition unless and until we are on fire. So this is a habit which we have to come out from. And there is a saying that if you practice something for 21 days regularly, then it becomes a habit. Close to 16 years back, I read somewhere that I can add 30 days in my life, 30 additional days. And how? I can do that by waking up just 1 hour before. So I used to wake up at 6:30. I started to wake up at 5:30. When I started to wake up at 5:30, I, put an alarm, recurring alarm for 30 days. You will not believe. From the 12th day onward, I used to wake up 5 minutes before the alarm clock. And it was a very good, champion feeling when I used to wake up 5 minutes before alarm, and when the alarm clock used to ring after you have already wake up. So I will give you this example. My father, we wanted my father, I, everybody at home, we wanted that my father should go for walking every day, but he was procrastinating that habit of walking. Okay, so then I read somewhere that you can also punish yourself, and you can establish a habit of not procrastinating. So what I did was that I told my father that, Papa, if you don't walk from tomorrow, then I am going to punish myself. And how I am going to do it? That if you don't walk, then from tomorrow onwards, I will tear a 2000 rupees note in front of your eyes. And I will continue to do that unless and until you start walking. So, what I did was I took a color printout of a 2000 rupees note, both the sides. I kept it in my purse. And on the date when I asked him to, start walking, when he did not walk, I asked my mom, where is father? And mom said, he's inside the home, he's inside in that room. I said, आज भी नहीं गए क्या walking पे? नहीं बेटा आज भी नहीं गए walking पे. So I went to my father. I took out that that fake note which I had in my purse. He could not realize because I was doing it from distance. I tore in front of him. I said, "Papa, ये आज 2,000 का note है." I tore it in 4 pieces, and then I threw it in the dustbin in front of him. And I said that I am punishing, because of your action. If you don't start working from tomorrow, I will tear 2,000 rupees note again and again and again, unless and until you start working. And you cannot imagine, the effect it had. From the next day onwards, he was walking, and he had this habit of walking, and he became one of the most, talked about person in the society. So many a times when you punish yourself for those actions, or you can do another thing. The moment you achieve something, you reward yourself. For example, if you set up a goal that I will do this activity, and unless and until I do this activity, whatever you like the most. Suppose if you like, having ice cream, you said to yourself that I am not going to eat ice cream unless and until I do this activity. Once you do that activity, give yourself, a scoop of ice cream. 1 hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 4 hours later, 5 hours later, 6 hours later, 7 hours later, 8 hours later, 9 hours later, 10 hours later, 11 hours later, 12 hours later, 13 hours later, 14 hours later, 15 hours later, 16 hours later, 17 hours later, 18 hours later, 19 hours later, 20 hours later, 21 hours later, 22 hours later, 23 hours later, 24 hours later, 25 hours later, 26 hours later, 27 hours later, 28 hours later, 29 hours later, 30 hours later, 31 hours later, 32 hours later, 33 hours later, 34 hours later, 35 hours later, 36 hours later, 37 hours later, 38 hours later, 39 hours later, 40 hours later, 41 hours later, 42 hours later, 43 hours later, 44 hours later, Okay, so enforce that particular habit with a positive behavior. Or else I'm not going to drink coffee unless and until I do this activity. The moment you do it, give yourself a sip of coffee, and you will feel that you will enforce a positive belief and you will eradicate the habit of procrastination. Any other question, Jyoti?
Yes, we have another question. So there's a similar question that has come from Dr. Nandesh Hiramat as well as Veer. So which states that why are 90% people around the world chasing success more than happiness and fulfillment? What is the real linkage between happiness and success?
Yeah, very good question. So happiness is something which is which comes from within. Happiness is a state of mind, and happiness is also, it also results from the motivation factor. So you see that from the same family, from the same behavior, from the same family, from the same circumstances, two people get two different motivation in life. So there was a study which was done by a famous journalist and psychologist, and this study was done in Toronto, in Canada. So this famous journalist and psychologist, he was studying on various families, and he thought that why from the same behavior, from the same family background, with almost same childhood and upbringing, why some people are very happy in life, they're doing, they're making other people happy, and why some people are not so happy and they are nuisance for the society. So he got this very wonderful example wherein the elder brother was staying in slums. He was an alcoholic and abusive person, and the younger brother was a very famous criminal lawyer, very famous, successful criminal lawyer. He went to the elder brother in the morning, and he asked this elder brother this question, that today you are alcoholic, abusive, you know hit your wife and children, why are you like this? And that gentleman said, I'm like this because all my life I have seen my father doing the same thing with my mom, uh, with my younger brother. So whatever I am is because of my father. And then this gentleman went to the younger brother in the evening. This person was a very famous, criminal lawyer in Toronto. So his home was a mansion, and there was, a lot of staffs, gardener, butler in the family. So when he went there, he said that you are today a famous criminal lawyer. You are very happy. You are very jubilant. Your family is enjoying the best of the travel around the globe. How are you so successful in life? How are you so happy? And he said that, all my life I have seen, I am happy because of my father. And then he thought that, oh, probably he's trying to hide his family circumstances. But he said that all my life I have seen my father beating me, my mother, my elder brother. And that very young age, I decided that from now on, whatever bad things I have seen in my life, my next generation will never see those bad things. So happiness is a state of mind. Motivation is a state of mind. And people around the globe have shown us repeatedly that you can, just by changing your mindset, okay, in spite of all the hard, hindrances, obstacles in life, you can be a very happy person, and you can be a very motivated person, and you can inspire others in life.
Great.
The
Uh,
question.
Yes, yes, it does. Thanks, Nilanjan. The next question, there's a similar question that has come from Shrikant Kalyan Sundaram and also from Sarfaraz Sheikh. So, COVID-19 has majorly impacted the job market. It has resulted in job losses. How can this principle, pillars of success shared by you be implemented to people, who've either lost their jobs due to pandemic, or how can the layoffs be avoided being in HR?
See, my dear brothers, for asking this, yes, the situation is very tough, and uh, am I the right person to answer this? I think probably not. Why? Because neither me nor our fathers or grandfather has ever seen this kind of circumstances. The nearest example, which I can quote, is that of the year 1918 or 20. So in 1918 and 20 also, the Spanish flu, that affected uh, severely, very economically. to United States. In those time, there were companies, there were many companies which tried to establish those businesses. And even in those tough times, there were examples of three businesses which are running even now, and they have crossed 100 years of journey, and they are very successful. My dear brothers and sisters, please note that whenever there is increase in unemployment, whenever there is increase in unemployment, there is also increase in self-employment, and this is what history has told us. There are example of people who have started business in very, very difficult situation. In that situation when nobody else believed in them, and today these people are very successful in life. I will give you an example of a person. This person was, he used to make egg rolls. He used to make egg rolls in, and he has developed. So people have developed such a nice taste buds that he started to make egg rolls, chicken rolls, paneer rolls, lot various kind of rolls, and people all over the city used to come and they used to eat egg rolls. And he had this amazing taste which no other other fast food center was offering. One day his younger son told him that, father, I have heard that there is an economic downturn, okay, businesses will suffer. So my suggestion is that from now on, please reduce your raw material consumption. So what is a raw material consumption for a person making egg rolls? Raw materials are eggs, raw materials are chicken and other stuffs. So he gradually decreased his raw material consumption. So when he decreased his raw material consumption, what happened was that earlier he used to sell egg rolls till 12 o'clock midnight. But now, since he reduced his consumption, so by 6 p.m., 7 p.m., he used to close his shop. And slowly and steadily, this message spread like wildfire that, that this particular, shop owner has reduced his quantity. Who were the gainers? Gainers were his competitors. So, my dear brothers and sisters, no matter whatever, how tough is the situation, we have only one thing to do, and that one thing is that we have to follow the law of average. If we are jobless right now, then we have to apply. If earlier we were applying to 50 positions, we have to now apply to 1,000 position. We have to increase our networking. If if we are into business, if we are entrepreneurs, okay, if we were thinking only one line of business, now we will have to diversify the business. We will have to ask each and every employee in my organization, even if he is not a part of sales or business development, to look for opportunity and to share those opportunity. The collective effort of all the people and the law of average will always work. The more number of companies and people we approach, the greater will be probability of our success. Any other question, Jyoti?
Yes, the next question is from Prerna Sabarwal, who wants to know what are the key factors that help an individual balance between hard work and smart work. General perception in today's time is that smart work is the key to success and not hard work.
I feel it is both hard work as well as smart work. Even for doing smart work, initially you will have to do hard work, and only those people can do smart work, who have tried and tested various things. When they have tried and tested, various things, they have more experience, and or else the other alternative is that you work with a person who has already done hard work and smart work. And the best way to do is to, what I feel is to read. Reading provides you the opportunity to do hard work and smart work. Where else can you get an opportunity? Just imagine that how will it be if Mother Teresa comes and give you advice of humanity? How will you feel if one day Warren Buffett comes and he advises you to invest in stock marketing? So this can only be done. They're not going to come and tell you that how this can be done. But the books written by those people, can help you. So develop a habit of reading books on each and every aspect of business, in each and every aspect of job. Okay, and you will see that many a times when you read a book, you get an idea. Many a time, and a good book is worth reading n number of times. Many a times when you read the same book, it offers you a new perspective in life. So read those books which will help you to do good in the business. So reading helps a lot, and it provides you ideas to do smart work. Any other question?
Right, agree. Reading definitely provides, insights. But on a practical aspect, when somebody faces this situation at work, then what is it that the person, what approach should a person follow?
See, again, as I told you, that in order to do smart work, also one person has to do means sometime. Let me give you in another way. When I joined my present organization, I came from a background of MNC, multinational companies. When I joined my present organization did not have ERP. It did not have any other, method wherein I could, which could help me in my day-to-day HR operations. So now the one way was to wait for a, HR ERP to, to come and help us in this fashion. The other way was to look for some different solution. So what I did was I digitized each and every process of my HR activities with the help of mail merge technology. So each and every activity in my business, I digitize, be it the exit method, all the exit was digitized with the help of Word and Excel. All the business partnering activities were digitized. All the CV from hire to retire was digitized. So in order for me to get that idea of how I can digitize, I have slogged for 12 hours, 12 years before I know the hard work of achieving that. And only once I know the hard work of achieving it, I can think those, and I can put those things in place to do smart work. So when I did not have the opportunity of ERP, I developed that system. And today all my recruiters who are there in the organization, all the other HR business partners, they are using those tips and tricks. And when we finally implemented the HRIS system in the organization, they took the help of those digitized process. Someday probably it would be a new session altogether where I can showcase all the process which I have digitized on my own with the help of simply Word and Excel. And this is how we can do smart work. But in order to do smart work, sometime what I believe is, in past you might have done a hard work which will result into that smart work. It cannot come like a lightning, or it cannot come like a eureka to anybody. Any other?
Right. Yes, one more question. So, Venkatesh, I wanted to know why success is not everyone's cup of tea. So, while somebody might apply all the pillars of success and work on all the areas that require focus, however, what could be the factors that might still derail a person from achieving success?
Uh, See, the pillars which I have told you today, or the pillars which you might read in my book, You Will Succeed, which I am launching in the either end of this month or the subsequent month. Okay, it will what people like us can do, what people who are motivational speaker like us can do, is that we can show you the way. Okay, and we can give you some principles, and these principles will increase your probability of success. These principles will increase your probability of success. And as I told you, that when you follow each and everybody, I have not seen, for example, if uh, let assume that when you were a child, how did you know that you would be able to ride a bicycle? You have seen other people who are riding bicycle. You have seen that this person who is riding a bicycle is just like me. How did you know that you would be able to drive a car? Initially you might not be getting success in driving the ar. You realize that this person who is driving a car is a next door neighbor. Okay, if this person can drive a car, you can also drive a car. So Success is something which is duplicatable, which is repeatable. If you do what other successful people have done, you will be a successful person. Initially, when I started my journey, for initial 2 years, I started my journey myself as an insurance advisor. I was not doing good as an insurance advisor, and I remember, still remember that it was just 3 months left for my first expiry of my first license period. My development officer called me and he told to me that Nilanjan, you have sold only 2 policies till now. If you don't sell 10 policies in remaining 3 months, then your license will be taken back and you will be called as a failure. And failure is something which I didn't like to hear. And then I put my act together and I thought that I am not getting success. Why I am not getting success is because there are already insurance advisor in and around me who knows much better than me, who are very influential. Okay, so in this kind of a scenario, I cannot be a better person than them. So if I cannot be a better person than them, what can I be? In that case, I can be a unique person. So I read the entire manual of LIC and I found that there was one policy which nobody else was selling at that, and that was Jeevan Suraksha policy. And why people were not selling? Because that was a pension policy, and in that particular policy, the insurance commission which the agent used to get was just 2%. So I capitalized on that, and I studied that policy. I sold that. I was able to sell more than 25 policy in a span of 3 months. And I remember the branch manager himself came and they told my father that we have not seen any turnaround like the turnaround which your boy has done. He sold only 2 policies in 10 months, and in the remaining 3 months he sold 25 policy. Why I was able to do it? I was able to do it because I sold a unique selling proposition. I told all my clients that now instead of saving 1 lakh, you can save 1 lakh 10,000 under section 80 triple CI. So my dear brother, the answer is that अगर आप जिंदगी में सफलता चाहते हो तो या तो आप सबसे बेहतर बन के दिखाओ या आप सबसे अलग बन के दिखाओ. So if you so at that particular time, जब मुझे पता था कि मैं सबसे बेहतर नहीं बन सकता था at that young age, so मैंने सबसे अलग बनने की राह चुनी. So this is my idea of success. So you will get success when you follow your instinct and when you focus on your unique selling proposition.
Great. Thanks, Nilanjan. Great insights. The last question that we have is from Manish Dwivedi, who wants to know small step or a giant leap. When to take that decision when one is in a fix?
If can this gentleman be a little precise?
Uh, okay, this question came in one of the queries that was raised while sharing the application. Sorry, not while registering for the
So,
webinar. So we
okay,
really,
okay.
but what it really means is, in case somebody has to take a decision, and
Mhm.
is really in a fix whether to take a small step or whether to take a big decision that is really impactful, however has repercussions. In that case, what is the best way to go about it?
Okay, I will answer this question. So, uh, just imagine whenever you want to take a big leap in life, uh, which we also call iman ki chalang. So when you want to take this big leap in life, then you will have to think of these two questions. The first question is that what should I do? What should I be doing if I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that whichever thing I will put my hand into, that in that particular activity, in that particular venture, I will be successful. So just imagine and think that God has given you this blessings, that whatever activity you decide to do, you will be successful in this activity. Then what is that thing that you want to do? Okay. The second thing is that what is that thing you would like to do if you know that you have only 6 months to live? When you decide on and answer yourself on these two particular questions, that God has given you blessings and whichever activity you will do, you will be successful. What would you like to do? And what would you like to do when you know that you have only 6 months to live? Who are those people who you value the most? Which is that job which you like the most? Which is that profession that you want to build your career? Which are the people where you would like to spend most of your time with? So when you decide on these two questions will definitely help you to take the best leap, to take the next leap in life.
Great. Thanks, Nilanjan. Just one last question that has come just now from Manish Vadera, who wants to know, considering the current COVID scenario, what business opportunities do you feel would be created in the market once the COVID ends?
uh, Manish, in India, if you read the planning commission's report of whatever last report you have, we have various untouched market segments where no people is thinking. The frozen food market is something which no people are thinking right now. The agro and agricultural based product, no people are thinking in that area. We have plenty of potential in tourism. Very few people are thinking about it. Yes, tourism right now it has taken a backseat, but very soon, when things will improve, when things will get better once the vaccine is out, you will see a big boom in tourism, and you will see see a very big boom in religious tourism, and health tourism is already there. In Also in the health tourism sector, I feel that right now India being uh, the country with most qualified doctors, I see there is a huge potential in this particular segment. And I also see that there is a huge potential that people from businesses from China will now come to India. And especially in the manufacturing sector, I can see huge potential. But the only thing, which we need to do as a country is we need to establish the entire value system in the same area. We have to establish the entire economic zone wherein my warehouse, wherein my supply chain activity, my manufacturing hub, my end user, everywhere, every people in the value system are there in that special economic zone. So the more and more economic zones we are able to create as a country, or be it in public private partnership, the more opportunity we are going to create in the coming time. And I'm very sure that if all the people who are here right now who are facing any kind of challenge, if they invest their time in learning, okay, in building network, okay, they will be able to develop a very good business. They will be able to jumpstart the moment things get improved. So there are businesses wherein people are just simply calling their old customers that, hey, you were doing business with us 1 year back, but I see that since some time you are not doing business with us, and this is not a business call. I just want to know from you that where did we go wrong? Can you just help me and guide me? So earlier, people were not having that kind of time to respond back, but now during this COVID time, people have little time and they might suggest you, and that particular suggestion might help you in the business. And this is how you can establish and your networking. You can build your customer, you can win back your lost customers, and this is the way moving forward. I hope
Great.
that answers. Yeah.
Yes, it definitely does. I think it's the best time to actually focus on upgrading our skills and on the learning and development
Right.
aspect. And a lot of companies are doing that along
Right.
with
Right.
focus on wellness.
Right. I
So,
have some other engagements, so I would now request to you know, take your leave. If there are no further question, or I can take
yes,
one more question if you
no
want.
further questions, Nilanjan. Thanks, a big thanks, big thanks to you for your time. And it was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah,
And
and I also would like all the peoples, all the audience who are there, that you can connect with me in LinkedIn, and in future also you can ask whatever questions you have in your mind, and I will be more than happy to give answers of those questions. I hope that all the audiences who are there, if you can just drop in your appreciation, how did you like this session, and what better I could do in future that will help me become a better professional. I would appreciate all your comments. Thank you very much to Mr. Veer, to Kashish and Jyoti for organizing this session. And it was my really my proud privilege. I was looking forward for this day for last 2.5 years, and finally I got this opportunity. And thank you very much, and God bless all the audiences who are there today live. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elanjan. It was great having you here, and
Thank
big thanks to all the participants as well. Will really appreciate your feedback on the session. Thanks to Core HRIR team and everyone who's been behind the scene. And a happy Independence Day once again to all of you. Let's keep learning, keep growing, and make our nation proud. Thanks, Nilanjan.
thank you very much. Bye.